So if you are driving out to Riverside, I don't know if you're working a full day and then you're having to get in your car, but that hands-on approach versus this thing I keep throwing out, which is the red carpet producer, and I know I'm making light of it, but I remember when you told it to me years ago, and I don't think I ever forgot it totally, and I was wondering if you could just explain to our viewers what it is.
Well, so there was a very, my former mentor who told me that there are a lot of producers out there that want to have their name in a film, you know, and they want to walk the red carpet with a starlet, and you know, it's kind of more, it's a more sort of status thing as opposed to the producer that will be married to that project for the rest of their life. And he gave me some examples of that. So the red carpet producer, I mean, is the one that, you know, it's the glamour life. It's the one where, you know, you're sort of just there as a figure that you were a part of this, yes, but you were just sort of there to cash in on the experience of it as opposed to the filmmaking process. And that's not every producer, but there are a ton of them out there. They'll help make a movie and they'll put their name in the credits, and they really just want the kind of the social benefits of all of that to kind of play and do their thing. I don't know if does that answer the...
It does. I was thinking if someone though comes with a checkbook, and I know this sounds very sort of callous, but and you know that that's their very defined role, and they are like, yes, I have the money, I just want to invest in this, then I feel like they get a pass. But not everybody comes with that, I realize.
Right.
And there are a lot of red carpet, you insert any title.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people in there that just want to, you know, say they made a movie, and that's fine, you know, but it's not producing, I don't think. There are line producers who are amazing people, and there are creative producers that are amazing people, and there are executive producers that are amazing people. But if you just show up with obviously, if somebody came to me with money and said, hey, we want to invest, but it really had to be, though, that we have shared principles, sort of in the sense that, like, who I am as a person. I don't want to just be taking somebody's money, not knowing who they are, not knowing, I mean, I wouldn't get involved, I wouldn't start a business with you, right? Unless you and I, Karen, kind of like talk through some things and kind of go, oh yeah, we feel kind of the same way about this world, and
sure,
you're bringing X and I'm bringing Y to this vision that we're going to create and do something. But if somebody's just showing up handing money and you just don't, you know, it's like,
and they're flipping about it, and yeah, sounds good, yeah, you know.
Yeah, like, oh, it's a great idea, you know, keep me posted. I mean, I've met so many of those people that, like, they literally walk around and. Actually, the thing that kicked off 1 Hour Fantasy Girl was I now believe that that's what we had. We had a person like that. I mean, we've been offered money before, like lots of money, through debt instruments. You'll hear about that term a lot. And it can get really tricky because ultimately the loan that you're taking out to finance your movie is on you to repay.
Oh gosh.
And it's not really financing in terms of venture capital, which is risk. It's, I'm going to get paid whether this movie makes money or not, and it'll be off of your back, and your name is on the loan. It's not the person providing the financing. We have looked at all the paperwork, and there are many different instruments out there. They're you know, that are backed by banks, and in reality, for an independent film producer, this is one of the dangers. I don't think there's been many people that have done this, but when you're a big studio and you have a whole slate of movies, and you can afford to lose money in some where others will make up for the losses of the other, you can play that game. When you're talking about one movie and $5 million, and $5 million being in your name, and you're responsible for paying that back within a certain number of years, irregardless of how the film turns out, irregardless if a distributor buys your movie up only to hold it. I mean, there's all sorts of things that can go wrong that prevent you from getting that money back. So it's best to work with people who share your vision, who believe that you're capable of implementing this goal, this dream, this thing you have, not just on a business plan, but when they sit across from you and they're asking you questions like a smart investor would, who's cautious of where they're going to put their money, that they're not just out there ready to sign up and, let's make your movie, but yet at the same time, there isn't this other process that it goes through. It's kind of back to that validation when you're a young actor out here and somebody say, hey, you got a good look, hop in the car, But it's the same thought process. If you're investing money into a film, you want to know who you're getting involved with on both sides of that table. Because at the end of the day, if everything goes wrong, you don't want to be countersued. Or you don't want to sue, you don't want to countersue. You'd rather go, hey, we tried, we're gonna, it didn't work. It was all written out. Obviously, you do the contracts and everything else, and everybody knows what the investor and the credited investor is and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you don't want to have troubles when things don't go right. You want to be able to, go, hey, we all got in this together. We have the best intentions working together. We're people. And I need you, you need me. If this is what we want to do to make money or tell this story or both, hopefully. And if it doesn't go the way we think it is, then we have to learn from it and move on. That's what good investors do. The good investors are people who have made bad investments and they've learned from making those bad investments what not to do the next time around. Makes them a little bit more cautious, maybe a little bit more cynical, but the only thing that you have at that point is just yourself and what you're bringing to the table. And if that person sees you as a value as to what they're trying to achieve and go, yeah, you reflect all of the qualities that I'm looking for in people that I know in other industries who invest in products and materials and businesses, you share the same qualities that these entrepreneurs do. And those are the kind of relationships that I want to go forward with, and I've been very blessed to have those. I learned a lot of lessons early on. Red carpet producer, ready to write that check. Keep me posted, and nothing is on the record ever. You will know, they can never put anything in writing for you. Everything will be a phone call. Let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
The phone call's no good.
And especially as you get closer to meeting their stated demands, or not demands, but objectives that they need to have in place in order for that investment to happen. What a lot of these guys do is they get people like you and me around, and they'll get a retainer from somebody. They get a monthly retainer to pitch projects. So if you've got somebody who's willing to get involved with you and you are getting a retainer from a group that's looking to do the financing, whether it be the bank or the banker or somebody else, what they're doing is they're basically presenting you a slate of projects and the status reports every month and saying, here's where we're moving on this. As of this date, we'll have this. And if projects come and go and drop off, well, then these people are getting that money to vet them and saying, well, they whatever reason they make up to this individual. And meanwhile, they could be telling you everything is going fine. And oh yeah, we've seen that a couple of times. It's a con and it's a scam. But the real con is the one that they're doing and they're getting the retainer for. The worst one is when the filmmaker commits and has done so through a process really where there's no verified paper trail of anything that's been said it's bad. It's bad. I tell people, if you can't put something in writing with anybody, don't get involved with them. That's a red flag.